minerals under Article 244, Clause 5 of the Constitution. The aim is to bring it in compliance with the Constitution and the Mining and Minerals Act. 1.2 Definition of mineral right. The bill provides that mineral right means the right to prospect, explore, or mine for minerals and a prospecting license, an exploration license, a retention license, a large scale or small scale mining license, or an artisanal mining license issued under the Mining Act. The definition should be amended and the phrase inserted as follows. Mineral right means a right to prospect, explore, or mine for minerals and a prospecting license, an exploration license, a retention license, a large-scale mining license, a medium-scale mining license, small-scale mining license, or an artisanal mining license. This is to bring in compliance with the Mining and Minerals Act, which includes a medium-scale mining license. Clause 4, Clause 95(2). The bill provides under Clause 95(2) that the holder of a mineral right issued under the Mining Act 2003 shall enjoy his or her right under that mineral right subject to this act. The clause should be amended to read as follows. The holder of a mineral right issued under the Mining Act 2003 shall exercise his or her rights under that mineral right subject to the provisions related to a protected area or protected building. The justification for this proposal is that the current draft is too broad, general, and prejudicial to mineral rights. It would make mineral rights subject to anything done under the Museums and Monuments Act, whereas the proposed draft protects natural heritage while still restricting mineral rights to a reasonable extent. It is important to note that the sustainable utilization of mineral resources includes protection of cultural and natural heritage. Both activities are important for socioeconomic development and can coexist in accordance with the law. Therefore, the bill should provide for extensive consultation with the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development before a site is listed as protected area by the Department of Museums and Monuments and the Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife, and Antiquities. This consultation and coordination would enable implementation of mineral development for industrialization and protection of natural heritage. 5. The bill makes reference to the Mining Act 2003. The Mining Act 2003 was repealed by the Mining and Minerals Act 2022. The clause should therefore be amended. There is need to further scrutinize Schedule 2 of the bill to ensure that the proposed protected areas and sites do not affect the development plans of the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development and government as a whole are not derailed. Therefore, in line with Article 91, Sub-Article 3C of the Constitution 1995, I hereby return the bill to Parliament for reconsideration of the clauses listed above. I refer this bill to the Committee on Trade, Tourism and Industry, and you have to process it within 2 weeks' time. After saying that, I have a concern on the side of Cabinet. This is a schedule that came from Cabinet. The committee did not add any of these places. Cabinet is chaired by the President. The ministers who are raising these issues are ministers in Cabinet. This bill was tabled for authority purposes. I was still a government chief whip. I remember I was in Cabinet. I'm not supposed to reveal what happens in Cabinet, but I was in Cabinet. So now, if Cabinet, you bring your work, we approve, then you return it that we've done shabby work. What do you want us to do? You know, because this is making Parliament look shabby. So I request the Prime Minister that before bills are brought to Parliament, you do harmonization as government. Because now, you know, you could see this came from Ministry of Energy to say they did a bill that is going to derail our work. So I request you do serious harmonization. We were having the Attorney General here when we were passing this bill. Any of these definitions and all that, there was no single objection that was raised. But then after, and the President has made it very clear that he has been advised his letter. So I request colleagues, please. Yeah, and I request this shouldn't be a matter for debate, but a matter for noting on the side of cabinet that Right Honorable Prime Minister, before bills come to the House, harmonize fully as ministers. If you have areas of disagreement, please ensure that you do that. Then we do work and we finish it once and for all. We don't come here to handle disagreements of ministers. So with that, please allow me to go to matters of national importance. Reaction? Okay. Let me start with the opposition chief whip.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Besides being the opposition chief whip, I'm holding the fort of my superior. Mr. Speaker, I would like to thank you for the timely intervention and effort in bringing into check this couch of impunity in the ministries and, so to speak, the executive. But what is disheartening, Mr. Speaker, sir, is having a hostel in the presence or in the vicinity of radioactive materials. That's very dangerous. And what is key here is about the health, because these are very harmful to the health and the lives of the occupants of that hostel. And as a matter of urgency, Mr. Speaker, because they even ran the risk, these girls who stay there, of being sterile.
Luckily enough, it's not yet occupied. They are just completing it.
Oh.
Yeah. So
my view, therefore, I hold, Mr. Speaker, sir, is that seeking your indulgence, Mr. Speaker, that this House should prevail over the relevant line ministry to actually stop any further plans for resettlement in those places that are close to that radioactive, I mean, the nuclear bunker, which you have just made mention of, for the sake of the lives of our people. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you, my brother Arop. You see, some of the cases, we don't need to prevail. This is something very clear. And we have given them an opportunity to go and rectify it. I think it is very important for us indeed to follow up on the matter to ensure indeed. But whoever goes, this came, I don't know whether Dr. Muyingo wanted to say something about it, because I can see, no, it's a hostel for his institution.
Yes, thank you very much. Right Honorable Speaker and dear colleagues, our institutions in Mulago are working hand in hand with the management of Mulago Hospital. They have a board, a council that sat and allocated that land to our institution. But I've taken a note and I'm going to follow it up, Right Honorable Speaker, and make sure that the lives of our children are protected.
Proceed, Mr. Speaker.
I would encourage you to go and you meet the experts, okay? And you see what they will tell you about that issue and the dangers of sleeping next to a nuclear site. They're gonna then.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, and I want to thank the Minister for the undertaking he has made before Parliament. But further to your guidance, I think it would be important for us to establish as a fact, one, who of the two institutions constructed first? Two, who authorized the plan? Because you see, you're telling government to incur the cost of relocating the hostel. But how did we get there? I remember in Park we were looking at the Auditor General's report, and one of the issues that came up as to why there was delay in installing some of the machinery that had been procured by the Ministry of Health was the issue of land ownership between Mulago and the other allied health institutions. But in this particular case, before we incur the cost of removing or taking the hostel away as if we are going to carry it away, we must establish who occasioned this loss to government, because there must be somebody who approved the plan, knowing that in the vicinity there is something whose existence could not allow the existence of the next installation.
Thank you. Honorable colleagues, I request we close this matter. Okay? Since we have given on this, on this matter of the banker, okay, and the hostel. Honorable Song, I wanted to give.
Thank you
some
very much.
technical that,
Thank
yeah.
you, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to thank you for this opportunity. On the issue of nuclear, I wanted to say two things. One, Uganda signed and ratified the Convention on the Physical Protection of Nuclear Materials. And this was in 2003, and it came into force in 2004. This nuclear convention came in 1979, and there was an amendment which came to it. All countries that are a party to that convention of 1979 have already signed and ratified the amendment, but Uganda has not yet signed the amendment. And the amendment is purely focusing on the safety that nuclear can coexist. But for your information also, nuclear is one of the cleanest energy we can have. It doesn't cause any climate change, but the safety is very important. And for you to be helped by the International Atomic Energy Agency in Vienna and so on, you must be a party to the convention, which has an amendment. I discussed this briefly with the Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Energy last week, and I said it is important that Uganda ratified the amendment. So my question now is, do you, as the Right Honorable Speaker, advise that we bring this as a substantial motion in Parliament for the ratification on the Convention on the Physical Protection of Nuclear Materials? The moment you have such an investment here, we must have the safety measures, and the safety measures can only come if we are a party to the convention. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable Songa, yes, I hear your concern loud and clear, but this is something which government negotiated with its international partners. Now, what is important that we can do is for the Minister of Foreign Affairs, who holds all these protocols, international protocols, is in charge of ensuring that indeed they are ratified and signed, to come and update the House. But not only on that one of nuclear. I remember there is a time we had requested for all international protocols for which we should be ratifying that have not been filed to be tabled here, and they tell us whether indeed they will ratify, because sometimes colleagues, when you represent us in international forums, they say, Uganda, you're part of this organization, but you refused to sign or to ratify ABCD. So I think let the Minister of Foreign Affairs bring the whole list to this House, and then we send it to the relevant committee. Right, Honorable Prime Minister, in 2 weeks' time, that should be done because he has a list. So, yes, I had allowed Honorable Macho on procedure.
Thank you.
On my communication.
Yes.
Yeah.
In your communication, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I really want to thank you that you have made Parliament to be a Parliament of the people, and you be a Speaker of the people. It is not the first time that you, the Speaker, and the Right Honorable Speaker, Anita Moore, you are moving down to check on issues affecting our people. Because it brings a question to me, how you discovered the danger that Ugandans are going through by the hostel being near the radiation center. That means you have taken parliament back to the people. And at the same time, last week, when the speaker, Right Honorable Anita Mong, gave money to bring back the lady who was stranded in Dubai, and that's a very good spirit. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I want to applaud you and thank you, but I also stood.
Do you
on
want to give me a medal?
I think,
Honorable
Mr. Speaker,
Ghosh
you
is
deserve a
serious.
handshake. And truly, I rose in a matter of procedure at the same time. Mr. Speaker, sir, 21 days were given as a lockdown to Mubende. And in the House, I see Honorable Patrick Isamba, a member of parliament from Mubende, who is supposed to be in the lockdown. I need your protection, whether he is supposed to be here or, Mr. Speaker, you are direct and he goes back in the lockdown. Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable. The lockdown was announced when he was in the House. He wasn't in Mubende, so he's right here. Yes. Honorable Zake.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise on a procedural matter under Rule 778B and C. I also rise under Rule 85 and Part 5 of Appendix F of our Rules of Procedure, which requires us as MPs to base our conduct on full consideration of the public interest. Mr. Speaker, sir, the abduction of citizens, especially here in the central region, has reached crisis levels, Mr. Speaker. The victims are mostly supporters of the opposition. And right, Honorable Speaker, we saw yesterday the Sheikh and Mr. Joseph Kabuleta being abducted in broad daylight by the armed men. And Mr. Speaker, 24 days now ago, NUP supporter Kavma Jamshid, who also doubles as my president's bodyguard, he was abducted with 3 other youth from their workplace. Mr. Speaker, only this month alone, hundreds of youth have been abducted and they have disappeared. They have not been seen or heard of since then, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Zake, just a minute. Just a minute. Just a minute.
Mr. Speaker, let me first
No,
finish up my matter.
I'm the one who has allowed you. I will allow you. Don't mind.
Mr. Speaker,
Honorable Zake, please. Just, I want to guide you. I'm your presiding officer. You voted me. Now, Honorable colleague, we are your colleagues here. When I request, don't read mischief in me. Then it means you know also what you are doing is not right and I've caught you. That's the message you're sending to me. Because you see, procedure is about proceedings in this house. Okay? The issue you are raising is not part of proceedings in this house. But there are many ways you can raise that issue. I request you visit my office. I will give you space on how you can raise the issue. That's my ruling, Honorable.
no,
colleague.
Mr. Speaker, this matter has been going on
Honorable Zake, kindly
all
take your
along,
seat.
and we seem not to be doing anything.
Honorable
believe-
Zake, kindly take your seat. Honorable Op, can you control your member?
Speaker, no. Hold on.
Okay. Colleagues. Colleagues, House suspended for 5 minutes.